The CJI brackets came out, and good lord are there some phenomenal matchups here. All of these could be finals matches from Worlds or ADCC, and we're getting to see them in the first round. Mojasim is punching mansion walls right now. You can see the brackets on screen. I'm going to go through each one of these matches and give my predictions for each one, but I also want to hear from you guys. Let me know how you think this is going to go and who you think is going to take home that $1 million pot at the end of the day. We'll start with the under 80 kilogram division. The first match is Ruotolo versus Jason Nolf. Now, I'm sure we all know Ty, but for those that don't, Ty is insanely dynamic, unpredictable, and along with his brother Kade, they're some of the most exciting athletes to watch. At the young age of 21, they're already vets with over a decade of high-level experience in the sport. And on the other side, we have Jason Nolf, who's a 3-time NCAA Division I national champ, all in consecutive years. This is a level of wrestling that we don't often see in jiu-jitsu. Think of it this way. We all know the one wrestler in the gym that's a nightmare to deal with. Imagine the worst case scenario, the best wrestler you know. That guy couldn't imagine scoring a point on a wrestler like this. That being said, as similar as jiu-jitsu and wrestling are, these are two separate sports, and it would be silly to think that even the best wrestlers out there can come over and beat the best jiu-jitsu guys in their own respective sports. I'd say Ty takes this one by Darce choke. Up next is Roberto Jimenez versus Levi Jones-Leary. I would put Roberto in a similar category to the Ruotolos, where the excitement and creativity is at the forefront of the moveset. Out of his 90 wins, 74 of them are finishes. On the other side, we have Levi Jones-Leary. Personally, Levi is one of my favorite athletes to study in the gi. I love his Berimbolo crab ride game, but especially against dynamic athletes, this game just doesn't translate well to no gi, so I'd give this one to Roberto by decision. Next is Lucas Barbosa versus Kenta Iwamoto. First of all, it seems wild to me that Lucas isn't in the over 80 kilogram division, but hey, if he can make the weight, good on him. Originally, I had Lucas Barbosa winning this match because I'm more familiar with him in the gi scene, and he's a tough competitor, but he tends to fade a little bit in long matches. But after watching some footage of Kenta Iwamoto rolling at B team, I'm hugely impressed and I had to switch my decision. I think this one's gonna go to decision, and I think Kenta Iwamoto is gonna take it. Up next, we have a rematch between Andy Varela and Jozef Chen. Now, this is a guaranteed barn burner. Both of these guys are super fun to watch, but I'm a big Jozef Chen fan. He won a decision in the first match, and I think this one will look similar, so I'm going to go with Jozef Chen by decision. Up next, we have the younger, better, more handsome Ryan brother, Nicky Ryan versus Andrew Tackett. This is another really fun match. Andrew Tackett has a very impressive record at 35 wins, with 29 of them being by submission and only 2 losses. I feel like this one could go either way, but I'd put my money on Andrew Tackett by rear naked choke. The next match is Magid Hage versus Owen O'Flanagan. I hope I pronounced that right. I have no idea what you guys are doing with spelling in Ireland, but it confuses my American brain. Now, Magid is really well known in the gi scene. We all know his baseball choke he was taking everyone out with for a while, but I've been insanely impressed with Owen recently, so I'm gonna go with Owen O'Flanagan via heel hook. Up next, we have another rematch between Renato Canuto and Tommy Langaker. Even as a rematch, this is one of the first round matchups I'm most excited for. I've done a lot of training with Tommy, and man does he have a unique style. I'd imagine he's one of the hardest guys to prepare for at this level. Even if you know what he's doing, you're never gonna find someone who can mimic his game in the gym. All that said, if there's anyone who can capitalize on the weirdness of Tommy Langaker, it's Renato Canuto. In my opinion, Renato has one of the best eyes for what's available to him. What I mean by this is if you're one of those people who's maybe extending their arm too far while playing guard, a lot of athletes will think they can flying armbar you. Renato knows when he can flying armbar you. It's rare you see him jump on an attack and not finish it. Based on the strange style of Tommy, I think a rematch adds to the likelihood of Renato doing better this time around, but if it comes down to it, I think I'd still put my money on Tommy via decision. And the last of the under 80 kilogram division, as if Craig Jones didn't do enough damage to ADCC already, we have ADCC champ Matheus Diniz versus ADCC champ Kade Ruotolo in the very first round. This is a hard one to pick, as it should be with two ADCC champs. Both have clearly shown they have what it takes to win the whole division. To me, this is a toss-up, but if I had to bet, I'd go with Kade by decision. That brings us to the over 80 kilogram division. First, we have Nicky Rodriguez versus Max Jimenez. Jimenez has been at this for a long time. He has a pretty deep record at black belt and has always been a tough match for anyone in the division. With Nicky Rod, I've been very impressed with the jumps he's made in skill in such a short time, and even at the last ADCC, he showed he has a lot of the tools to beat even the highest level black belts, so I think I'm going to give this one to Nicky Rod by decision. Up next is Owen Livesey versus Muhammad Ali. This match is like two trains on the same track going towards each other, and we're all placing bets to see who's going to be alive at the end of the collision. Muhammad Ali is an absolute tank, but we're talking about an Olympian in Owen Livesey. I take Ali as someone who's going to try to stand up with Livesey, and I think it's pretty likely we're going to see a judo clinic in this match. I'm going with Livesey by decision. Up next is Adam Bradley versus Kyle Boehm. Now, Kyle Boehm is a 10th planet black belt, but he doesn't really have the 10th planet style. You're not going to see him throw up a rubber guard or a lockdown at any point. His style is similar to the B team new wave guys, where he's mainly leg lock focused. Adam Bradley on the other side, I don't know his game very well. I know he got the ADCC invite originally, but dropped out last minute to switch to CJI. Take this one with a grain of salt, but I'll go with Kyle Boehm via heel hook. Up next, we have another Division I All-American wrestler, Pat Downey, versus UFC vet Luke Rockhold. Both being MMA fighters, I have a feeling they're going to have pretty defensive jiu-jitsu, and this may lead to some boring exchanges. As much as it pains me to say, I think this is one of the more boring matches of the night, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is exciting. I'm going to guess Luke Rockhold pulls through on this one by decision. On to William Tackett versus Joao Rocha. Now, Joao's been fighting and beating a lot of the top black belts for over a decade. He has a very good record with very impressive wins, but the Tackett brothers are hard to bet against. Both brothers have some of the most impressive records out there. They look more like amateur boxing records than grappling records. Based on experience, I want to go with Rocha, but I think I'm going to go with William Tackett by decision on this one. Up next is 3-time All-American wrestler Greg Kirkvallette versus Felipe Andrew. I said this in an earlier prediction, but it's crazy to think a wrestler is going to come over and beat the best in the world, and I stand by that here. As impressive as the wrestling pedigree is to me, it's not enough in this case. One of Felipe Andrew's best moves is a straight footlock, which is a very accessible submission, and I don't think a wrestler with minimal jiu-jitsu experience is going to be able to avoid that. Going with Felipe Andrew via straight footlock. Up next, we have Ignacio Santos versus Pedro Alex. This is the only one I'm not going to give a prediction on because I haven't studied these guys at all, so it would just be me randomly choosing one of them. But if you know their games, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments how you think this one's going to go. Last of the over 80 kilograms is Lucas Kennard versus Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo is a multiple-time IBJJF world champ, gi and no gi. Lucas Kennard won the ADCC trials and was set to compete there, but made the last-minute switch to CJI after Mason Fowler pulled out, dealing another blow to Mojasim. Based on record and experience, I'm going to go with Victor Hugo on this one. On to what you've all been waiting for, the biggest battle of the sexes since Bobby Riggs versus Billie Jean King.
What a scene it is, the Houston Astrodome.
Billie Jean was playing for every woman.
Bobby started to say, I can beat any of those broads.
Arguably, Billie Jean King was the most important athlete of our century.
Fun fact, that match was for $100,000, and if you account for inflation, that's $686,000, which is still worth less than Craig Jones is offering for this match. The stakes of this match are $1 million prize for Gabby should she beat Craig, but an OnlyFans collab for Craig should he beat Gabby, which I think we can all agree is worth far more than $1 million. In all seriousness, I'd be completely shocked if Craig didn't beat Gabby. This isn't tennis, Craig isn't 30 years older than Gabby. Sorry, but Billie Jean King ain't winning this one. Last but not least is the real super fight of the night, Mackenzie Dern versus Fionn Davis. These are two top-tier female athletes. Mackenzie Dern has made the shift to MMA, but she's maintained a very jiu-jitsu focused style even in MMA, and I think it won't have as much of an effect that a transition to MMA typically would. That being said, Fionn is on an absolute tear lately. Every time she competes, she impresses me more and more. Even outside of competition, I'm thoroughly impressed with her coaching, and I don't say this about a lot of athletes. Most competitors do, but they can't teach well. She does both at a very high level, and to me, when I listen to her teach a move, you can really feel that technical knowledge that she has. I'm gonna go with Fionn Davis by a rear naked choke on this one. Thanks for watching the whole video. Like, subscribe, share it where you can. I appreciate all the support. We should have a new breakdown coming up soon. I'm just putting the final touches on that and I should have it up, but I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.